Hey,
Morning.
hey, hey, I'm Adam.
I'm
This
Ste.
is Tay. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be here on Hardcover streaming number 5, is it? Or
I think
4?
so. I think it's the fifth time, but I think the first one didn't record, so technically four. it
Okay, yeah, let's put in 4. That was more
was
of a
a
trial.
it was a good practice. I feel like anytime anyone does like a live show where they start numbering, the first one is always just scrapped, and I feel like we've just been keeping up tradition.
Yeah, exactly. It's the pilot, although we
Exactly.
haven't heard it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
Our
what
things.
a, Pretty good. Uh, just been well, pretty annoying, but good. I've been trying to figure out the iOS subscription stuff for the app, and I have some leads on it. Um, so the problem is that so we needed to implement native subscriptions in the iOS app before it's approved for the App Store. So we have it all working locally. Like Stay, you designed the like the modal for the upgrade, and Eugene implemented it. It looks great. And I implemented it and got it working locally with Xcode, where it's like using a sandbox account in Apple Developer to like be able to actually sign up for a subscription. It's you see like the native message from Apple saying like, "Do you want to subscribe?" And you have to like double click on the side button and all that. But as soon as I build the app to release it to production, for some reason, it's not packaging in Cordova, which is the JavaScript libraries and Objective C libraries that we need to be able to interact with like Apple's native stuff from our React code. So I've been like just Googling and trying everything I can to figure out like why is this not loading Cordova? And I have a couple leads that I'm going to try today, but I'm crossing my fingers one of them works because it's definitely been a frustrating problem.
So, well, yeah, I bet. Yeah, it was a tough one. I mean, final stretch, but yeah, this one seemed like a pretty, hard nut to crack. Um, yeah, well, hopefully after this is getting done, the app is out there. So that's the good news.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's also like one of the few like technical areas where we don't really have anyone on the team who's like an expert in iOS development. So it's kind of like we're all just kind of trying to figure things out. But at least you know once we do, it'll be easier.
True. Although I think even like experts with our setup might, run into trouble. It's very basically, I guess, cutting edge. Maybe that's like why there isn't like a really like straightforward solution to solve that. I mean, yeah, seems like a problem that most people who like had this setup where they use that to publish an app to iOS, where they use Cordova, they should have run into this thing. Yeah, and iOS won't let us publish without this important part. But yeah, as soon as that's done, yeah, let's hope that one of the solutions fixes it.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, I have a few friends that know some iOS development, so I might start like pinging them, like, "Hey, I could really use your help. You have a couple minutes."
Yeah, definitely, that'd
yeah,
be good. Well, it'll get solved eventually, like all dev
yeah,
problems. How do you
yeah.
usually debug? I'm curious. What's your? I mean, I've heard like so many like strategies from like talking to a rubber ducky that you keep near your desktop, trying to explain your problem to it, to I don't know, just like console logging everything. What's your like go to like
Um,
approach?
I think it depends on like what language I'm into. Like, because when I'm in Ruby, my approach is usually like test driven development, where I'm like defining the interfaces for how the different classes and modules are working together, and basically doing it from TDD standpoint, where I'm making it fail and then making the test pass. But for JavaScript and like iOS, I feel like I haven't like formed that yet. So it's a lot of, I think I lean on logging a lot. For this one, I got it, since it's working locally, but it's not working when I like upload the actual one to Apple. What I ended up doing was, if you have a hardcover user on production with a username that ends in test, you'll get additional logging through like alerts. So,
Okay.
but it's only for the checkout process. So the checkout process doesn't even work. But if you try it on the beta app that's only in test flight on production, with the username ending in test, you're going to get a lot of alerts.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, that's yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that, but sounds good. Yeah,
Oh
nice.
yeah. Do,
Uh,
do you do you have a strategy for how you approach that things when you get stuck?
in codes, I'm like really a rookie, so I don't know. It just everything goes, and my strategy is going to Adam or Eugene. So basically, a very good strategy from my point of view. Uh, yeah, and in design, that's usually not the case. So yeah, lucky me, I guess.
And you seem to be really good at like when you get stuck on design, it would be like that means it's time to get feedback and you know time to ask questions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's debugging in design when you actually get stuck. Yeah, I do all sorts of stuff. I mean, for design, it's like getting stuck on, well, not like really getting stuck on, right? Like you're writing a book and you're stuck, or you're writing poetry and you're stuck. But when I can't see something, I just like take a walk or just pause for a minute or like do some exercise. That usually helps, like reframing the thing. Of course, it's very different from development, but that works. And getting feedback, getting a second set of eyes, especially from someone who isn't a designer, and or from a designer with a very different approach, usually helps.
I can see that.
Oh yeah, I guess that's debugging in design. Yeah,
one
it's been
one
really yeah.
one other thing I do lately is I do like a Pomodoro setup where I have like
Oh, okay, here we
a
go.
30-minute hourglass and a 5-minute hourglass. So I do like 30 minute or 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, just to, at least when I'm like working solo, not in a meeting. And usually I've been using that as an opportunity to pretty much just refill my tea. And I've been like, I've always been a coffee drinker, but lately I've been drinking tea. So that's like basically a
Okay.
cup of tea every half hour for a couple hours.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of tea, but I appreciate the Pomodoro technique. I mean, it's you really like went all the way and made it like into a physical thing. You have two
Yeah.
hour glasses. That's cool.
The, the only problem is sometimes I don't see that it's like drained until I, like, if I'm really in the flow of something, I won't notice it, and then I'll realize it. So it's 25 minutes ish, not 25 minutes exactly.
Okay, that's still good. I mean, that's the problem with Pomodoro. You usually like don't like stick to like that timing. I actually tried it once, but I just ditched it after like I think a couple of months, where I got into a like 40-minute, 20 minutes break system, but still, yeah.
Mm.
But that's good. That's good. Maybe if I could get like physical hourglasses.
Yeah, I got these for Christmas, and I'm enjoying them so far.
That's nice. Great.
Uh, well, let's see. Uh, there is anything specific you were thinking about chatting today? I had one thing in mind, but curious what you had.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything planned, and a lot of stuff has been going on with Hardcover since we got an influx of about 250 users recently, and lots of very, very, very good feedback that we're considering to implement. So yeah, maybe we can touch on that, or maybe I can tie it in with whatever you had planned, because it might be on the same, yeah. Uh, Same page.
Yeah,
But yeah, just wanted to mention that it's like exciting times on hardcover. The first signs of us really getting significant adoption because of a series of really random events that have been going on, which I hopefully hope like they will like go on and happen more from now on. But yeah, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. It was neat seeing like a first 100 sign up day of hardcover.
Yeah.
That was exciting. I
Yeah,
think
exactly. And for many platforms, it might not mean much, but uh, for us, it means a lot. And I think it's growing at a steady pace where we can do the things the readers on hardcover are actually asking for in a way that doesn't clog up the whole system, the whole feed, and doesn't like crash our servers. So
yeah,
all healthy on that front, I guess.
yeah. I think the last project I was doing, Minify, like the financial blog and investing site. I think it peaked at maybe like 5 user registrations a day, and hardcover's been getting like 10 a day now. So it's interesting to see like this is the most successful project I've ever worked on that wasn't like employed by someone else. So,
Well,
I mean, that's
that's
exciting.
yeah, it's great. And just wait until we get regular 100 per day days, or 1,000 per day days, or 10,000 per day days.
Yeah.
It
And
will happen at some point.
and I think one of the ways we're going to get there is by continuing to just focus on working on what people are asking for. And
Yes.
I think speaking of that, what I was thinking we could chat about today, which is very tangentially related to the book button that we've been talking about, is progress tracking, like
Hmm.
tracking like I've started reading this book and now I come back tomorrow. I'm not done with the book, but I want to update my progress on that book and say something.
Yeah, love that topic.
Yeah.
So
Have you explored that at all in Figma so far?
yeah, we can actually look over the designs for like the initial, really rough um, version of that, and maybe we can, yeah, start developing. Actually, yeah, talking on it. So let me just share my screen here real quick, and let's go to Figma. This is the book tracking that we're trying to implement. But further down, ta-da! Okay, so
Still, oh yeah, right. I remember this now.
yeah, here we go. This is it. So with book progress, it's really interesting because readers really have like different habits for how they uh, read. Some like to update their progress after they've put down the book. Some like to have apps which time their reading sessions, much like Pomodoro. Like, I'm gonna read for 25 minutes now. I just start the timer, and when the timer stops, I stop reading. So that's like one possibility. Um, Other readers like taking notes while they're reading, so that's a big thing to them. Actually, having this meta reading where they can easily add notes on their reading. Uh, that's, I guess, one of the uh, mm, popular habits. Uh, and there are also people who don't like track their reading at all, just say that they began reading a book or they don't, and just mark that book as read. So I guess all of these cases would need to be covered in a way that uh, we take what's, the average experience for the average reader, I guess, and offer as much as possible to, yeah, cover all of those cases. So I guess that's what we've been trying to do. The thing with book tracking, read tracking apps, is that they do a few do this in a way that is easy enough for people to actually like have your app by your side while you're reading. I mean, because let's face it, usually it's not like something you'd want to do unless it's like really, really, really easy and fun. So we're trying to do both of those things, right? So making it
Yeah.
easy and fun. Uh,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah, we started from these designs.
I'm remembering this now. And I'm trying to remember like where were we thinking so far on like ways to get to this? Um, was it like through the like in the book status button, like when it says like currently reading, and like a right arrow to this?
Exactly. So it would be here. Let me mark that up. This is like the version without that, but I think
Mm.
this is how it. Oh, it's actually here. I just wait just a second. What did I do? Crap. Well, here we go. So this one. Ah, nope, not like that. Here we go. So it would be through here, most probably, where if you're currently reading, you get the percentage here for reading or listening if it's an audiobook, and you get this arrow. And tapping this arrow would take you somewhere on a screen, probably like these ones, where it will happen in the same drawer that we're using for tracking, for yeah, tracking progress on the book. I think the best app I've seen do this is one called Bookly, and one of our readers on Hardcover actually told me about it. So it is being used, and on this point, I'm gonna actually show you something because I just remembered. Ah, here we go. Just a sec. I'm gonna show you something really interesting. Ah, after I log in. Crap. Okay. I'm just gonna do this on the feeds. Whatever. Ah, okay. I'm not gonna do this. Next time. So basically, what I did was ask ChatGPT what a book tracking experience would mean, and I also have it on my phone, but I'm using my phone as camera. So next time I'll just paste it here. Yeah, the thing is, there are several important things to be able to update your book progress, so your page progress, to be able to actually have stats on your reading, to be able to time your reading, and to add notes were the four things it actually outlined when I asked what would make up a good book tracking experience. So yeah, I guess the collective intelligence also like maps that out to those like four aspects.
So what was that? Update, progress, notes, quotes, and what was the last one?
Uh Stats, I think something like this. So oh, it was actually streaks, like
Mm.
it was something tied to goals, like if you are doing updating on a particular day, you are actually contributing towards one of your goals. And it could be, I want to read a certain amount of pages per day goal, or it could be I just want to read daily goal, or it could be, just a daily streak, kind of like, like this, where you have consecutive reading days and you also set a reminder. So if you usually read in the evening, you set a reminder at a certain hour, and you get maybe a push notification, because I think now we could also send those. You can even send them on the web app on Safari, by the way, which is interesting. Uh, but yeah, that's the way it functions. So it's what I say. It's updating the progress, the reading streak, the timing of your reading. So, saying you have been reading for like 6 minutes, and adding notes and quotes. And
Gotcha.
also, really nice to have like ambient sound. But I guess this is like, you know, an extremely nice to have.
Yeah, I think what comes to mind for me from all this is like it would be really neat to like for us to distill down all these options and then do like a maybe a user survey like from our newsletter group and Discord where we have people like rank the importance of some of these. Like we could do like a there's this model called like a Kano model in user research where we ask people
Mm-hmm.
to like understand what's most important and what's least important to you, and that might help us like decide what of this we do on like phase one and what of it people are like can't live without, and what
Yeah.
features are maybe the yeah that's neat but I don't know if I'd even use that kind of features.
Yeah, true. There are like, I think, a bunch of phases right here in this little thing that some are more useful than others, let's say. So that's gonna be, what it was it called again? A Kano?
Yeah, Kano model.
A Kano model. Okay, kind of like ranking choices, like choice ranking, right?
Yeah, you usually for a Kano model you don't do choice ranking. I think that's something we'd probably also include in the survey though. um, but for a Kano model you try to ask like the same question in two different ways. You normally ask like how important is it for you to have this feature, and like how would you feel if you didn't have this feature, and based on
Mm,
those two
yeah.
metrics we are able to determine the importance of it, because someone might
Okay.
really want notes but they might not really care if notes are missing. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's there's this dynamic there where like for like updating how far you along in the book, that one's probably really important and you would really care if it wasn't there. So you kind of
Yeah.
determine like, okay, this is the feature that's like core to it and this is kind of a supporting feature of it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I was thinking maybe for a moment, because we've already got this, but I was wondering maybe we can talk, freely about what we think would
Yeah.
be nice, and what the challenges would be for tracking a book, and also, uh how would it impact the use and reading habits? I mean, trying to see if it's really a necessity for readers. What would you think in that regard?
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Like maybe we could go through kind of how we could see the feature from like end to end, like as a user using it, and that might help like flesh out some of the parts of it.
Let's do that.
Okay. Uh, so um, I'll start with like how I think I would use it, like as a user of hardcover wanting a feature like this. um, I would want to be able to pick up my phone, click on my books, and see a list of the books that I currently have in progress, and be able to click like one thing and have it bring up the update progress um, form, where I'm able to then like either enter a number or drag a slider that maybe like um, is attaching to like 5% increments. That way, it's not like 1% at a time. It's like, but I could still like enter in an increment manually in a field. But if I wanted to use the slider, it might be like jumping to points. And in addition to like updating that progress, I might also, I would also want to sometimes um, give like a paragraph or some information about like what my thoughts are on where I am at the book. Like, I'm really enjoying this so far. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with character
Mm.
X. I'm going to have so many questions about something that would be shared with people who follow me with my take on where I am in the book so far. That then shows up on my feed, and they see like, hey, Adam's 45% through the book, and he just had this thought. And potentially, I would be able to mark that thought as a spoiler or not a spoiler. So that way, if someone reading my feed hasn't read that book, they wouldn't be spoiled by my comments about it. And potentially, they would be able to react to that comment in some way, whether it's like a comment reply or an emoji reply. Probably a comment reply for like a conversation in my feed where they're replying to me, and uh, I imagine like anyone who's able to see it would be able to reply, unless I have like a setting for like friends only for replies, or um, yeah, I'd probably want a setting for like who can reply to this. Like, should it be only people I follow that can reply to it, or could it be the whole world can reply to it, um, or no one? And I would want to be able to like delete people's replies if someone was spamming me, or um, it wasn't a useful discussion or something. Um, and I think it could be like flat comments. It doesn't need to be like infinitely nested. It could just be like, here's the main my comment, and here's just a feed of comments after it. But could go either way on that. But yeah, it would be that like updating progress, sharing my thoughts, and then getting feedback from other people. Those are kind of the most important parts to me about progress tracking.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I love the way that ties into actual discussions, because that's like an important part I was worried about with notes, because obviously, what would be nice is to treat notes like discussion topics if you choose to share them. So, just like you'd post anywhere else on any social network, if you chose to make a note public, that would be like great way to interact with people who are seeing that you are reading that book. And I'd be curious to get your like live thoughts, like, oh, Adam is on page 56 of that book, look what he's saying about that. That's very nice, and I think approaching notes like that is like really wise decision. Yeah,
And
that's yeah.
and to me, that's something different than notes even. Uh, like I almost think about it like thoughts about the book, as opposed to like
Mhm,
notes where it's more like um, on this page this character said blah blah blah, and I want to remember that. I think of that
mhm.
as a note. Like notes are things I want to think back on, while this progress update message would be more like a tweet. It would be like a status update,
Mm-hmm.
less
Okay.
than a less than a quote or a note, where it's like something that I'm saving about the book for posterity and for personal growth later.
Okay, so
It's
you would actually like separate them between private notes for like reference for later, and status updates where you can talk about where you are in the book and what has been going on if you read like from page 0 to 50, talking about that, so people know,
yeah,
okay, Adam's on page 50, and this is like his like non-spoiler take on what has happened so far. Yeah, I'm guessing
yeah,
that would be a really huge step forward from what we have now, where you just know someone's currently reading a book. You can actually see how their reading goes. uh yeah, that's similar to what I do. So uh let me
yeah,
also like walk you through the so
yeah. I'm
I
very
guess
curious.
for me, actually, like remembering to pick up the book at a certain time so I don't like get distracted by anything else, that could be also important. So setting times for reading. Let's say I want to like have my reading, usual reading, have like an alarm or a push notification go off at 5 p.m. telling me maybe it's time to pick up whatever book is in your currently reading. That could be nice. So I could just go on my phone. I'd go on the hardcover app. I'd go exactly like you said in books. Uh, Tap on the book I want to update, and then I would like to forget about my phone a little. So I just do that. It has to be like a 5 second thing where I would just bam. I've started to read this book. Um, I think a timer would be interesting to, let me see when, let's say, half an hour has passed. So maybe it could like play a sound when my reading session, let's say, is at a certain point. Let's say I want to read for 1 hour. So at 5, it gives me like the notice you're supposed to read now. I pick up the book, I start the reading session, I maybe press play. It remembers what page I was previously at. Yeah. And at 6, it says, okay, plays the sound. I can stop my reading session, and I can post a status update. Or let's say I also have some quotes from books that usually save using the iPhone camera app, because you can select text. And if I had my phone handy, I would like take a picture during that reading session. So uh, taking a picture of a quote so I can save the text, and then adding it on hardcover as a quote. I'm not sure if for private use or for personal use, but I mean, for me, since it's on hardcover and it's a network where I share my book updates, I put it public. On Facebook, I wouldn't put it public because I don't know, I don't want someone seeing what I read. On Twitter as well, because I'm talking about all sorts of other stuff there. Uh, but on hardcover, I definitely like put it as public, so uh, I could get people's comments on that. I don't know. Maybe some people love that quote. Maybe some hate it. Maybe, this stirs up a discussion. I definitely want to put it as a quote and maybe a few comments. Just like, you'd share a bit of code and then you'd like comment underneath, kind of like a snippet. So I'd have the quote as a snippet, and yeah, uh, post maybe with a few words about that quote. Yeah, and I just post it. Uh, yeah, publicly, and then I get my reading session done. Maybe updating the progress could be done through a slider. Uh, yeah, and I'd also want it to count towards my goal. So when I finish reading, I'd want to have, let's say, a daily streak would be nice, like Duolingo. Whenever I go on Duolingo and I practice daily, I'm practicing French now. Uh, I like the way they made those streaks like really frustrate you when you're missing one, and they have those gems when you want to freeze a streak. They went all in on that. So for yeah, for that, that's a really good case study. Duolingo. They also have the badges. So if we had badges at some point in the future, that would also be nice. So I could be like a whatever reader, like I don't know, super like consistent reader if I read for 30 days straight, like every day. uh, so yeah, tying those two goals and something else would be nice to make me basically want to do that uh, every day. And I think that's about it. So on the habit part, mine is on the habit part heavily, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that yeah. And so I think between the two of us, we're covering like a lot of different parts of like what it means to track progress and like use a book app while you're reading. For I was like taking notes and I have a couple follow up questions.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
for something like uh, setting reminders, what would be to you like the advantage of doing something like that in hardcover versus like setting a reminder on your phone using a calendar or reminders app?
Good question. Uh, I don't know. I could set it up on my phone. That's very true, and maybe I should do that. Yeah. I was trying to think if I would like it to show up somewhere, or if I would, if there would be like any advantage on me having it on hardcover. If it would tie to, no, a reminder would be, yeah. If I set a reminder, it could be on any other app. So yeah, I'm guessing that wouldn't necessarily have to be on hardcover. So I'm guessing reminders wouldn't be like such a priority. They're not tied to the goals. They're not tied to the tracking in any way. So yeah, I'm guessing the only opportunity would be to make some nice illustrations with jewels, but that really qualifies as a nice to have. So if at some point we can't find any other features to implement, maybe note it down for that point.
Yeah, yeah, I could see it like if we did have like um, streaks and other features like that, then something like reminders could be like, you get the reminder, then you just click uh yes I read today, or you know
Hey,
o-
yeah,
and or no, I'm going to start reading right now, or dismiss. And that way
yeah,
it's either the confirmation that you had a reading session, it's the beginning of a reading session, or it's like dismissing it, which is something you couldn't get from just a reminder to go read. um,
yeah. True,
but
true,
but that
true.
requires, yeah, like that assumes you already have like streaks and all that, but it could be something that builds on that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. As a priority, it should be afterwards. Yeah, I'm also thinking, it could be like a shortcut to take you to the book you're currently reading or you have less read last time, so you don't have to spend a couple of taps. But then again, if you can do that in 5 seconds, yeah. It could also
Mhm.
be like a stat, like on 7 days out of 30 you read that your like reminder time, so that, but again, it's not like that important. So I'm guessing when we run out of features, like 5 years down the line.
Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, and so when you when you, let's say you save a note or a quote, like you've taken a photo of a book you're reading, you've imported the text of it, maybe you've written a little comment about that note. Um, I'm trying to think like what would the next action be from that? Would it be like sharing it to your feed so others can see it? Would it be adding it to a database of your notes so that you can easily review it later? Like, what would be um, the usefulness of taking that note for you?
Uh huh. I think it's first to start maybe some interactions with other readers. I'm curious to see what others say. So I would post it. So the way I'm thinking, the way I see it is that you'd basically get, like on Discord, you get to write your whole thing. Maybe you get to format it without any content warnings. If you have a code, you can actually paste it from your camera. If you're doing like it on iPhone, like I do, you can actually paste it from the camera and then format it as a quote so that it shows up as a quote from that, that page, and then I'd post it. Now, in terms of where I'd want to see that, when I go to the book page, and I would go to discussions, maybe I'd want to see, my posts first and the discussions they started, or yeah, have them in some way accessible over there. um, and yeah, my notes and quotes. As for the private notes, they would basically be for reference, stuff I want to remember, stuff I think is important from that book. So if I want to, let's say, I don't know, write a review, I can remember like key parts that stood out to me. Um, yeah, so I'm guessing that would be the main main goals of the private notes for reference. And again, I guess uh, it would be useful to find them on the book page if I go to the specific book page, and also in private on a private notes page where I can see all of my private notes from all the books, kind of like a feed of private notes, basically, just like that. If a post I make is a private note, or if I save it as a private note, it just shows up there.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I as someone who's never been much of a note taker, I feel like I'm wanting to take more notes, but I've never like found that system that's really worked for me. So I've been trying like different note taking things. Like I've been using Obsidian. I've been trying out
Uh-huh.
Readwise,
Mm,
and I'm still like I still haven't gotten it yet.
yeah,
It's like I like the idea of notes, but I'm always so like when I'm reading a book, I'm always so like into the book that I don't want to like pause and like create the note. So I often want to like find notes that someone else has already created based on like where I
yeah,
am in the book. Like I think for me that would be the more useful part. It's like, okay, uh I'm at 33% of the book. What are some of the most highlighted notes that other people have highlighted from the reading session that I just was in? And then I just
yeah,
want to say save, save, save.
yeah,
And then be able to, reference those later.
yeah, yeah. That's really good as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm also like trying to, uh, I usually do this when I find a quote that I want to share with somebody, like say Anna, my wife. I just want to show her something. Look at what this says. Uh, that's when I want to really take a note, and I do all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think right now my note taking is actually making pencil marks, where I want to just like browse through a book and see where something interesting was said, which is really bad. So don't do this. But I know. I think it was like Obsidian or Readerly. It was Readerly, right? I think I don't know this one. I know Obsidian. Uh,
Oh yeah, the other one I mentioned was Readwise. Yeah.
Readwise, okay, Readwise. Uh, they're kind of complex. I mean, I can see them for, let's say, scientific papers being useful, where you really want to like build a mental model of what that book says and all of the ideas, and maybe for like people who are writers and want to take like really in-depth notes on characters or, you know, plots. Details, maybe that, but I think a way of taking notes easier and with a social aspect to it, like see what notes other people have taken, isn't like there. I mean, the really complex note taking, okay, that's kind of not solved, but let's say covered. But the simple note taking, I don't want to take complex notes. I don't want to like do a PhD on, I don't know, some Japanese horror novel. I just want to like outline something and maybe share it and just do that.
At
So
a one kind of neat thing we did at a Pluralsight. So it's like a tech education platform. Lots of videos on how to do anything in the tech world, JavaScript, you know, .NET, that kind of thing. And while you're watching a video, there was an option to take a note, and it
oh
would
yeah,
tie that note to that point in the video, and you could see like what the popular notes that other people had taken. So there was
yeah,
like a chart with the video that said like this is the area of the video that the most people have taken notes on, and you could go there and see like all the notes for that part of the video. And
nice,
I I
yeah,
love that idea for books as well, where it's like, this book's 400 pages, and this is the track of the notes. Lots of people had a lot of notes to say and a lot of things to say about this one part, while this one part over here, almost no one took notes on.
yeah. That's really good. That's really good. I can see, some sort of range slider where you would uh be able to select a certain part where you'd want to see, the notes from, and coupled with that, a graph maybe of where the peak noting happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
and
really neat.
and this could also be like, it doesn't one thing that I think I'm kind of excited about this idea of notes, and how, or at least our like how we implement it, is doing it in a way kind of like you said, a social way, where
Hmm.
like not everyone needs to take the same note. Like you might be able to use a note that someone else created, and now you're saving that note to your library, and that way you don't have to type it all out
Yeah,
if someone else
exactly.
has already created it.
It can be a bookmark, just like you bookmark lists. You can bookmark a note. I'd also like to react to that note, either like you said, by commenting on it or through an emoji, or just like heart it or something.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm guessing Twitter has like a similar thing. So you can like a tweet and it features in your liked tweets section on your profile, but you can also bookmark it. And basically, bookmarking it, I mean, bookmarking on Twitter, by the way, is crap. Uh, they don't have filtering, they don't have categories. I freaking hate it, and it's a mess. I don't know why
I've
they don't.
I, I've been on Twitter since 2007, and I don't think I've ever bookmarked a tweet.
Really? Oh God, you should see my bookmarks collection. I think I have thousands in there, and I can't filter them. I can't organize them by categories, like basic stuff. You can search
Hmm.
through them. I spent some time like like scrolling through my bookmarks for 15 minutes to try to find something, and yeah, so for me, huge time waster. See, that's like really interesting in terms of how this is used. But surprisingly, there's lots of like places it overlaps. You know, even for us too. I mean, from
Mhm.
what I've heard, I think I had two interviews where I mentioned and I showed the designs for the book tracking. Um, Wildly different behaviors. I mean,
Yeah.
some people like to really like have a companion while they're reading so that they can track every reading session, and yeah, others don't do that at all. So I guess this feature would be for people who like really like to track things. And if we manage to tie it to discussions, you know, maybe even like you can attach a video or a TikTok of what you think about a certain section of the book. This could be also interesting for book clubs where, you know, you're currently reading something and you are keeping track of what other people reading at the same time have been posting, you know, on a similar progress. This would
Mhm.
actually, I mean, in the data, this would happen. So we'd have people tracking their reading at the same time for the same book. And let's say we'd have me and you and someone else, I don't know, reading the same book and being at page 50, and we wouldn't know it. We'd be strangers. If we could like go on the book page and see that we've all shared updates from page 50 and see
Mm.
our updates at the same time,
Yeah.
and see, oh, okay, Adam is reading that, and someone else is reading that on the other part of the world, and I'm reading this, and we're all at page 50. That's a book club. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
async book club, you know. So
I
the,
I really love that idea. I think if we can find a way to do that, then that's a type of social network that I don't feel exists right now. And it's a way of like spontaneously creating small groups of people who actually want to interact with each other. And
yeah,
like I think about like subreddits. Like there's a subreddit for most books, but the people on that subreddit include people who haven't read that book, who read it years ago, who are reading it right now. Sometimes, you know, there will be a thread for like, this is our book of the month. We're going to read through this together. But this is a way of making that for every book you read,
yeah,
assuming that
exactly.
we have a large enough audience that there are people reading it.
Yeah, of course, but you know, it could get there. I think like judging, let's say comparing the chance you have to sync on the same book through a book club with, I don't know, just people you know, or even on a book network to find a book club for a certain book. That's you know, quite uh unlikely that, you know, you'd find a book you'd actually like. But if you take all the readers all over the world, let's say they're on hardcover and they're reading the same book at the same time and they're all at page 50, and you find a way to actually like show them that they're reading the same thing at the same time, that's like a spontaneous book club of like
No.
a lot of people. And it I think it creates way more connection than traditional book clubs, because these are strangers who are reading the same book and you can interact with them. I think that has like, I mean, for me it would be like really attractive to see uh what other people are reading, what I'm reading at the same time, and uh, also what other people have read. And let's say I can also see what someone at page 50 thought about page 50 in 2019, and
Yeah,
what
that's
someone else.
that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. It's like when you update your progress from 30% to 50% done with the book, like there's the opportunity to see other people who are also close to where you are in the book currently right now, but you could also get other people's thoughts when they made it to 50% of the book.
Mm, yeah.
They might have read it a year ago, but they also had that moment that you just had where maybe something happened in that book and you want to talk about that one thing with someone who was excited about it at that moment. You could find status updates by people who also crossed that event and had their immediate thoughts about it.
Yeah, exactly. It would be like really, really nice to see. I don't know if someone made the same notes, if someone like noticed the same things from that book, if they noticed like really wildly different things, that would all be like very, very interesting. I mean, it would open up a universe like related to the book that's like maybe as exciting as the book itself. Uh,
Yeah.
think about all the authors who would like love to see that for their books. Uh, that
Yeah.
would be freaking amazing. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's I took a lot of notes on everything we were talking about. I was thinking, what if for like a next step on this, um, I'll put together like a Kano model and rank choice survey of kind of distilling all the things that we've talked about, and I can share it in our supporters channel for like feedback on it to refine it before we send it out, and then we could probably send it out on Discord and the newsletter, and that could just help us determine like here's the MVP features, here's the phase one, phase two, phase three of something like this.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, this is like exciting, and combined with the updates that we are gonna tackle at some point where we go to discussions, and how all of that happens. Plus, we're now working on the book page, so it also ties into that. Yeah, this is really like it has been a really nice exploration of this thing. If we it's a tough one. If we actually manage to have people with our app uh, when they're reading and it's like really really enjoyable, I think that's a huge huge win. And yeah, we can uncover some like really surprising things. So it's
Yeah.
exciting.
Very cool. Well, I think that's a good stopping point for the day. Um, yeah. Thanks for jumping on and this was fun. It was almost like a dual product interview where we were kind of interviewing each other about our own reading styles, which was kind of neat. It makes me think like in the future it would be neat to like have like guests on the show and basically like interview them about their thoughts on a feature and just like dig into it.
That would be freaking great. Maybe we can trial it on the next one or the next one. But I really be, now that we got this format on its tracks, it would be really nice to make it into a space where we can invite readers and yeah, actually do that. I mean, look at how many like really interesting stuff we uncovered in the past hour. So
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds great. Good.
Cool.
Well, until next Monday. Uh, yeah.
Cool.
Have a good one. Have a good week.
See ya. Have a good one.
Bye bye.